This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you. And this is one a couple of you have been asking about for a while now, actually. You guys want to see a juice off between the Omega 8006, which is the same thing as the Omega 8004, and the Omega VRT350 HD juicer. And the juice off we're going to do today is something that I don't necessarily recommend you guys juice, is fruits. So here we got some organic grapes, and if you are going to juice your grapes, I highly encourage you guys to get the organic ones, because conventional grapes have been found on the Dirty Dozen list in previous years, especially ones that are imported. In any case, I'm proud to say that I do have some organic grapes, and besides being organic, these are seeded grapes. That means it has a seed on the middle. Many grapes that you buy in the store are seedless. That's because most people don't like to chew into the seeds. But the seeds are a wealth of antioxidants. And if you go into the health food store, you could buy grape seed extract, which is sold for, antioxidants, which is really beneficial in preventing free radical damage. And if you buy the grapes with the seeds and juice them through your juicer, the juicer will crush up the seeds and mix some of the nutrients from the seeds into the juice that you're going to drink. So now you'll be able to get some of those nutrients in the seeds into you. So the reason why I say I don't necessarily recommend juicing fruits overall, whether they're grapes or other fruits, is because when you eat the fruits whole, you're getting the fiber and everything. When you juice them, you remove the fiber, so basically you're getting a sugar water. Not to say that this sugar water that you're making with your own juicer is far better than any Coke bottled juices that have been pasteurized and lose much of the vitamins, all the enzymes. But in my opinion, it's better to eat your fruits whole or to blend them to retain the fiber. That being said, in some cases like these grapes, while they all are organic, in my opinion, they're not super high quality, so they're not so sweet. So in that case, I do like to actually juice them to get some extra sweetness or to remove the fiber, which can change the taste sensation. So when you juice it, it's going to taste better than they actually really were. But overall, I recommend eating your fruits whole or blending them to keep the fiber. So anyways, on with the juice off. What I have done here is a pre-measured 1 pound of the organic grapes in each container there. And what we are going to do is juice each of these containers in each one of these juicers. We have the Omega 8006 Nutrition Center, which is a horizontal single auger style machine. The way this works, it's unlike the high-speed centrifugal ejection machines that sound like an airplane taking off in your kitchen. Those run at like 10,000 plus RPM. This runs at a low 80 RPMs or revolutions per minute. How this works is this auger spins around, it crushes the produce, and it brings the produce down this little screen here until the juice is literally pressed out in stage number 1 right here on the initial crush, and stage number 2 on the secondary juicing stage. So we're going to go ahead and put this back in the machine. Now this machine takes me about 1.5 minutes to clean, or definitely under 2 minutes, and so that's why I like it a lot. One of the negative things about this machine is that you do need to use the pusher to push the produce into the machine. I guess this machine also does have a 15-year warranty, which is the longest warranty in the juicing industry. In general, the Omega 8006 is known for juicing leafy greens. Each style of juicer will juice certain produce items better or worse. For example, the Omega 8006, in a recent test I did juicing it against the Omega Vert, produced 25% more green juice when juicing straight leafy greens. So I juiced 1 pound of leafy greens in this, and I got 1.25 cups of green juice with this, and only 1 cup with this. So you need to figure out what you're going to juice the most and get the juicer that's going to juice that item the best. In general, based on my prior experience, and what I recommend is that the Omega Vert does juice fruits better than the Omega 8006. But as I just said, the Vert doesn't juice the leafy greens as well. So what we're doing today is that we're going to specifically find out what about grapes. And so we're going to juice the same amount of grapes in both machines. In any case, on to this side, we got the Omega VRT350 juicer. And this is the all-new VRT350. And if you do buy the Omega VRT350 from Discount Juicers, you will get the latest version of the Omega VRT350. The latest version of the Omega VRT350 has this little rotating gear here. The older machines had the gear over on this side. The latest model has the gear on the back side. So how is this going to help you? It's not any major change or difference, but this may result in a little bit less pulp in the juice with this latest revision here. That being said, the Omega Vert juicer is known to make some of the most pulpy juice of all juicers, and that's why I recommend you guys just buy a simple strainer here, like at a Walmart or a Target. They're like $2-3, and pour your juice through this if the pulp in the juice bothers you. If it doesn't bother you, that's fine. You could drink the pulp in the juice. It's more of a taste preference thing. The Omega 8006 does come with an additional strainer so that you can strain the juice out without buying an additional strainer. So how this machine works, it's pretty much like this. It's once again a single auger, except this auger is shorter and fatter, and actually is working vertically instead of horizontally, and it works the same way. Basically, the produce is put in here, gets crushed up, it then gets squeezed, the juice gets squeezed through the screen, the juice comes out one side, the pulp comes out the other side. Another main difference between these machines are the way the pulp is ejected. This has actually like built into the screen here, it has like a little silicone flap here that keeps pressure and keeps the produce in there to get juice longer before it kicks it out. And on the Omega Vert, it actually has a little flap on the bottom of this housing here that keeps the pulp in there before it lets it out. Now, although these are both single auger style machines running at 80 RPMs or revolutions per minute, you know, your results will vary depending on the produce you're juicing and, you know, the yield. As to the quality of the juice, you know, the quality, in my opinion, because they are running at the same RPM, it's about the same. In addition, one of the nice things of the Omega Vert, it does have this automatic wiping screen here. So think about this as like a windshield wipers for your car. It continually rotates and keeps the screen clean so your screen does not get clogged, which may increase the yield and also makes your juicer easier to clean. So we're going to go ahead and put this in, get this fully assembled, and then we're going to start juicing. Now, the Omega Vert juicer has a 10-year warranty, so that's 5 years shorter than the Omega 8006. And I own both these machines here. The one that I use the most personally for me and my juicing style, I much rather use the Omega Vert because literally you don't have to push anything in as long as you prepare the produce properly, which includes cutting your leafy greens into small pieces. You know, it's virtually self-feeding. That being said, the Omega 8006, if I am juicing mostly like the other week, I was actually juicing cucumbers, apples, and greens, and the Omega 8006 did a significantly better job than the Omega Vert would have done because on that combination, the Omega Vert would have tended to back up and make a pulpy juice and not work as well. So, you know, much like many of you ladies out there have 10 pairs of shoes or more, you know, one pair to go to the beach, one pair to go running in, one pair to go hiking in, one pair to go dancing in, one pair to go to a wedding in. I have many juicers, and I pick the juicer that's best going to juice, you know, what I'm juicing at that time. Unfortunately, most of you guys aren't going to buy a whole bunch of juicers like I do, so you're going to have to get the one juicer that's going to hopefully best meet your needs. And that's one of the reasons why I produce all these videos for you guys, so you guys could see in my tests where I juice things like grapes, juice things like kiwi fruits, juice things like carrots, you know, the same amount in each juicer, so you guys could see and learn which machine may be the best for you. In any case, I guess next, let's get into the juice off. Now we're going to do the juice off, and I'm not going to edit this video so you guys see the real actual time, because besides just the quantity that's produced, another thing that's important to me besides the quantity is the quality of the juice. That's not often talked about. Although centrifugal ejection juicers may make a higher quantity of juice on things like carrots, you know, the quality is significantly less based on the research I've seen. The slower juicers can make up to 50% more nutrition in the juice, especially pulling more minerals out of the juice than the high-speed juicers. In addition, the high-speed juicers oxidize the juice more, and once again, that will also lower the nutrition. And that's not something you guys could easily see in a video, but I have seen the research, and I mean, when you juice in a slow juicer versus a high-speed juicer, you could definitely taste the results. So nowadays, for the most part, like 99% of the time, I use a slow juicers in my household, although I still also own a centrifugal ejection, because the benefit with those guys is that they are fast, and you could be juicing, be done, clean the juicer, and be out of the house easily within 10 minutes, but I've also done that with the Omega Vert as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and juice in real time so you guys can see how long it takes. We're going to grab that pusher and we're going to drop in one grape at a time. And actually the grapes are almost self-feeding in here. They're just getting sucked in on their own, so I don't even have to use the pusher, which is kind of nice. As you can see, the grape juice is coming out the bottom and the pulp is coming out the front here. Some of the grapes kind of get stuck, and it might help if I was to use the pusher a little bit. But once again, we're only juicing 1 pound of grapes here to see. Now, grape juice is an amazing food in itself. I mean, many of you guys may be drinking wine And you know, they say, oh, the reason to drink wine is reversatile. Well, no, the reason to drink wine is to get hammered, man, or to feel buzzed, to feel good. But anyways, you know, and the excuse is reversatile. But the reversatile is also in grape juice, and you're getting the reversatile and all the other beneficial nutrients in the grapes by juicing them, you know, more so than in the wine, because the wine is fermented, and in some cases it can be heat processed to lose the enzymes as well. And so this is working really well here. You can see the pulp coming out. Wow, this pulp is amazingly dry. I'm actually quite impressed with that. In general, I recommend the Omega Vert overall if you do want to juice fruits, but you know what? We're going to see how this Omega 8006 juicer does. And so far, looks like it's doing a great job. Anyways, as to the nutrients in the grape juice, you know, you got similar properties in the grape juice as with the wine without the alcohol. And, you know, I prefer to drink the grape juice fresh instead of the wine, and get your grapes as high quality and fresh and ripe and high Brix level as possible for even better grape juice. So I mean, so pretty much that was it. We got a little bit of leftover stuff in there. We're gonna stuff that in there, and man, this is pretty amazing. This pulp is amazingly dry. I'm quite impressed actually. So that's pretty much done, and you know, that was pretty much self-feeding. On some things, oh, we forgot one. Let's put that in there. Gotta have a fair test here. On some things like fruits, like in the Omega 8006, which I do a video juicing pineapple in the 8006 and the Vert, I believe, it's significantly more difficult and more challenging to feed the pineapple through the Omega 8006, as it does get stuck up more, and that depends on the quality of the fruit. If you get soft fruit, right, that's all mushy, soft, mealy, going bad, those don't juice too well in the slow juicers. So you have to get nice, firm fruits that are, you know, as fresh as possible. They juice better than the soft, mushy, old fruits. You're gonna get more of an applesauce or more of a baby food than an actual juice like we are today. These grapes have to be fairly fresh. Let's go ahead and turn that machine off. One of the things I like about these juicers, the slow juicers, is that they're relatively quiet. You know, if you got a juice in the morning before you go to work and your kids are still sleeping, you know, it's not gonna wake them up like a high-speed juicer will. Next, let's go ahead and turn the Vert on and feed in these grapes. It's very simple. I could, as fast as I just feed one in, and once again, you don't want to dump all the grapes in at once. You want to give the machine some time to work. I'm just gradually, you know, taking 1, 2, and dropping them in the machine and letting it juice it up right up. And it's really quick and easy to juice, you know, these things like grapes in the machines because they're so small and they're relatively self-feeding. Once again, if you're juicing grapes, the grapes with the seeds are actually going to juice better than grapes without the seeds. Now you might be thinking, John, why is that? Well, the seeds actually give a nice texture or fiber because these juicers, you know, they don't like soft pulp, but the seed is nice and hard, so that gives it some fiber to help push that pulp through the machine. As you can see here, I'm almost done juicing the grapes, and I think for the amount of time, you know, it's about the similar amount of time in both machines to juice the grapes. I think maybe the Vert might have took a little bit less time than the Omega 8006. One of the things that's important about the Omega Vert is once you're done juicing, you want to let it run a little bit. You don't want to just throw the grape in and then turn it off, because as you can see, the juice is still dripping out. Another thing you may want to do with both machines is, like on this guy, you're going to want to tip this up a little bit, and you can see there some juice is still dripping out, so we want this to be a fair test here. Alright, so I think we got all the juice out of there, and the Vert's been running a little bit. We're going to go ahead and turn that off, and once again on the Vert, we're going to go ahead and pick that up and get some of the juice to drip out. Now, this is important too, because if you don't do this, then the juice is going to you know, spill on your counter when you remove the collection cup. Another thing I like to do is actually just move this guy over, so if there is any drips, it's not going to drip all over. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take our measuring cups. So we got 4-cup measuring cups here. We're not going to need ones this big. And in addition, we have 2 strainers, because it would not be a fair comparison if we just checked the amount of juice we made in each cup here, because one may have more fiber than the other, but the strainers will assure that we're going to get a fair and even test. Let's go ahead and pour this guy off. Again, this is the Omega 8006. Looks like there's very little pulp in that juice there. And on that one, looks like we got 1.5 cups, pretty much on the money. Next up, this cup right here. Gotta go ahead and pour this guy off. Again, looks like there's actually a little bit more pulp in this juice than the Omega 8006. I'm gonna go ahead and tap these guys down here, and we're gonna go ahead and hold this up for you guys. So there's the pulp in the Omega Vert, there's the pulp in the Omega 8006. You know, there's just a tad more in the Omega Vert. Gonna go ahead and set these guys aside and move this stuff out the way, and let's compare these side to side here. Alright, so the Omega 8006 looks like it got about 1.5 cups, and the Omega Vert got 1 1/3 cups. So in this juice off, the Omega 8006 is the clear winner. That being said, in prior videos I have gotten better results with the Omega Vert, but once again, it depends on the produce you're juicing, you know, how soft the produce is, if it has seeds or not, whether one or the other is going to produce more juice. And in the end of things, you know, what's the difference between, you know, 1 1/3 cup or 1.5 cup? I mean, that's like hardly anything. I think the main message I want to leave you guys with today is you want to select the juice that's going to juice best what you want to juice most. So in this case, if you're going to juice mostly grapes, then the 8006 would be good. If you want to juice mostly greens, then the 8006 would be good. If you want something more convenient, faster to use, you know, you don't have to sit there babysit with pushing each carrot in or each leafy green in, then the Omega Vert's going to be better. I mean, each juicer has their own sets of pros and cons. I have a really good in-depth video where I compare the 8000 series machines with the Omega Vert. It's like a 40-minute video where I go into detail and explain how each one works and in what cases one juicer may be better than the other. So definitely encourage you guys to check the other videos on YouTube for that video. I guess finally we're gonna go ahead and do the taste test. Taste some fresh made organic grape juice. Tastes far better than anything I've had out of a bottle. You got to get one of these juicers just to make your own fresh grape juice at home. Now, because of the seeds, I was juicing the seeds, it does taste a little bit tart, so what I'm probably going to do is go in and add a little bit of apples to this to have apple grape juice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.